Undernutrition remains one of the leading causes of mortality in children under 5 years in developing countries and will have a negative impact on development over generations. Arise correspondent Mary Chinda x-rays the negative effects of poor nutrition on children in Nigeria. Her report.
The Nigerian Demographic and Health Survey, Nigeria has the second highest burden of stunted children in the world, with a national prevalence rate of 32% of children under 5. An estimated 2 million children in Nigeria suffer from severe acute malnutrition, but only 2 out of 10 children affected are currently being reached with treatment. According to the agency, the causes of malnutrition and food insecurity in Nigeria are multifaceted and include poor infant and young child feeding practices, which contribute to high stunted growth in children. Malnutrition results in a high prevalence of stunting, underweight, and micronutrient deficiencies. Mary Chinda, Arise News.
All right, joining us tonight to look at this issue is Dr. Zainab Mohammed Idris. She is the project coordinator of Accelerating Nutrition Results in Nigeria project and from Kaduna State. And also joining us is Dr. Kawu, who is the communication consultant to the World Bank on ANRIN projects in Nigeria. Very warm welcome to News Nights. Let me, like usual, be gender sensitive here and start with you, Doctor. Tell us, what strategies is ANRIN being employed to tackle malnutrition in Nigeria?
Thank you very much. The ANRIN project, which is Accelerating Nutrition Results in Nigeria project, itself is a key strategy deployed by the government of Nigeria to see how it can roll out interventions that will prevent the onset of malnutrition. And in doing that, there are a set of interventions that are being implemented through the basic package of nutrition services, where we have non-state actors, which is a private entity that delivers these services. And they go house to house, which is a key strategy deployed at that level to provide these key services that include maternal, infant, and young child nutrition counseling on those practices that mothers and caregivers of children
but the percentage,
less than 5 years.
Yeah, the percentage is still very high, about 30.
It's actually 37%.
Yeah.
Yes, according
Isn't
to the
that very
national
worrisome?
Oh, definitely, it's very worrisome. It's a threshold that is really a cause for concern, which means a number of our children are still facing the challenge and the risk of getting malnourished. So as an intervention, coming back to the question that you asked, we are doing that through our non-state actors. We're also providing other services through them that includes provision of maternal macronutrient powder for children that are aged 6 to 24 months. We also have provision of iron folic acid to pregnant women, particularly those that attend antenatal care.
All this free?
Oh, sure, it's free. The government, it's a loan that has been taken.
Yes, because I know the vice president is the chairman of this nutrition...
that's the Nutrition Council of
Nigeria. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then part of what we provide, I needed to list out the programs or the interventions that are provided through the project, because it's part of the strategy that is used to prevent the onset of malnutrition. As I've said, the MIYCN counseling on those key practices. And what are those key practices? It has to do with early initiation of breastfeeding, promoting exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months of a child's life, and then continued breastfeeding, so that by the time the child is 6 months, you introduce adequate and appropriate complementary feeding up until the time the child is about 2 years or beyond. In addition, we also, through our non-state actors, provide micronutrient powder, like I've mentioned, for children aged between 6 months to 24 months. And one of the things that we have been doing is to also ensure that there's deworming of children within twice in a year for children that are aged about 12 months to 59 months. And there's also the layer of vitamin A supplementation. Because we are talking about chronic malnutrition, which is a key concern that the government of Nigeria has, where you have stunting and macronutrient deficiency. So for us to be able to make meaningful progress, given the project development objective of providing or increasing the utilization of quality, cost-effective nutrition services to our target beneficiaries that comprise pregnant women, lactating mothers, our adolescent girls, and children less than 5 years of age, it is very necessary to ensure that we have these services being provided. And a couple of other services, especially to our pregnant
You still come to talk about that. Let me allow Dr. Awal to come in here. And I know you have a conference coming up on Tuesday, and it's a big one because the Vice President, as the chairman of the Nutrition Association and the rest, is going to be there. But tell us, how has the accelerating nutrition results in Nigeria, has it contributed to addressing, for example, the nutrition challenges to the targeted communities?
Thank you so much. I think Zainab has started by giving update in terms of services being provided.
Yes.
But you see, beyond the services, the question is, are we reaching the appropriate beneficiaries? Often we think of beneficiaries as the mother herself or the pregnant woman and the children. Who is responsible? The husband is responsible. The community are responsible. The local environment is responsible. So one of the ways to address that, which actually falls within the fulcrum of this dialogue, which is actually one of the biggest dialogue in the country, is to engage with traditional leaders and the faith actors. And faith actors here cut across all sects of beliefs in Nigeria. Now, the expectation is that these individual groups, depending on the context in which they are supposed to reach others that are most significant.
So like the conference theme says, faith leaders as catalysts for enhanced human capital through nutrition.
It's expected that statements that is going to come from faith leaders will actually impact on the overall program implementation. Husbands can be reached mostly through the faith actors, through their faith leaders, whether they're pastors or they're imams. And then, which means such changes coming from them will complement the support they provide to their families. A pregnant woman will depend on her husband for feeding, for all the services she needs to do, including even going to the clinic for antenatal. So who provides that if the husband is not actually involved and carried along? And the best medium to carry husbands and other significant others is through their faith leaders. So this is one. Secondly, it's expected faith leaders can make a communique that is very significant at the national level, which can impact on the national policy and operation of nutrition program in the country.
How about in the education sector? How do you drive that in primary and secondary schools, for example?
Actually, there are also critical players in this national dialogue, all the ministries, all the stakeholders in nutrition, because you see, nutrition is extremely vast and all-encompassing. Agriculture, education, family health, family life, and all others. So all the key line ministries that are involved in all these are also part of this national dialogue, including all the implementing partners that are doing one thing or the other. So all putting their heads together to actually showcase the role of the faith leaders in this respect, and to see that if we have big pastors and imams speaking at various platforms and levels about nutrition, it means that really there is some element of seriousness in this process.
All right, seriousness in the process. Of course, that's why the presidency is involved, and it's been a truly worrisome situation. Malnutrition, still found, with the socioeconomic challenges in the country. But has funding be? What are the challenges that, ANRIN faces, and how are you surmounting it with specific strategies to address malnutrition in the country?
Yes, let me quickly add to what BK I mean, AK has said, especially in terms of
using the faith leaders to propagate
yes,
the
they
issue
are
of
the vehicle.
nutrition.
They are actually, because of the respect they command, because of the influence they have, and also because of the wider reach. You know, they have a wide followership, and they are in a position to actually pass the correct messages, nutrition messages, that mothers and other caregivers and even the secondary beneficiaries of our program would need to be conversant with for us to be able to have the desired results in nutrition.
Okay.
So they are really well positioned to play that role. We've seen them do that in previous times when we were dealing with polio and other ailments like that. So we believe that even with nutrition, they have a key role to play and they are very strategic. Coming back to the issue of funding, we also see them as a vehicle that can also advocate for increase in, you know, budgetary allocations so that we have the efficiency that is needed to be able to carry out interventions that have been planned. We have the multisectoral plan of action on food and nutrition that is very key, that provides us the basis for effective coordination. And we know that the faith leaders are very key in ensuring that we're able to work with them closely. Again, I think we have also worked closely with them to develop, you know, a key compendium where they can use, I think they call it the MRYCN approaches, practices that has to do with the Christian perspective as well as the Islamic perspective, where scriptures have been developed, and those scriptures have helped to pass on the messages that are required for people to adopt the right practices, considering the socio-religious as well as the socio-cultural kind of issues that we have around different communities. So we believe that the faith leaders are very key in addressing that. Okay. We also have done some bit of work, World Bank supported, where they've provided both financial and technical support to ensure that they're able to, I mean, the states that we work in are able to improve,
narrow the gap or improve.
Yes, even improve, like the existing budget that we have, how well are we using it? You know, allocative efficiency, ensuring that the investments that are being made by our governments are yielding the desired
right results. Okay.
And at the end of it all,
okay,
we also have what is called budget tagging, where each intervention that has to do with nutrition can now be monitored and tracked from the beginning when the investment is made right to the point when the intervention is carried out. So
there's a period of AI now. I'm sure you must have an app for that to monitor it.
Definitely.
Okay, sorry, because we're running out of time. Let me take Dr. Kawu for the last question. Are there specific demographic groups or regions that, you know, have benefited more from this ANRIN targeted improvements in nutrition? Well, Dr. Kawu, it looks as if you are the expert here, because Dr. Kawu just signaled to me that no. Okay, go on.
Yes, I think I should respond to that. I think there's a selection criteria that was used in identifying the high burden states, which is currently what the 11 ANRIN states are implementing. The high burden states, the first criteria is that they have this high burden of malnutrition, which prevalence is higher than what we even have as the national prevalence. And then we also have the commitment that has been shown by most of the states in terms of expressing their interest to partake in the international development assistance offered by the World Bank, including the GFF facility, which is a grant-making facility. And then the other criteria has to do with the ability to also provide some counterpart funding, what we call the Government Commitment Fund, to the tune of 50 million per annum, and it's supposed to be given
for a 5-year period
in naira by our state governments.
Is that adequate?
Well, to start with, you know, you have to start somewhere. So it's a starting point for the states to demonstrate that they can commit resources where they really want to tackle the menace or prevent the onset of malnutrition. And then there's also the availability of a strategic plan, the state strategic plan of action on food and nutrition, which most of the states that are currently implementing the ANRIN project had before they were co-opted into the project. So this criteria was used to actually select the states. Yes.
Fantastic. Well, I can't wish you anything but the best at your conference with His Excellency, the Vice President, Kazim Shettima, on ANRIN and improving the nutrition of Nigerians, particularly the children.
Yes.
Thank you. I've had Dr. Awalu Kawu, who is the expert in communication for social and behavioral impact. And of course, to my left here, Dr. Zainab Kawu, or
Yes.
Kwanu? Kawu, okay, Mohammed Idris. She's the project coordinator of ANRIN project in Kaduna State. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much for having us here.
Pleasure.